Today, I wanted to talk about a topic related to productivity. So, I come from the software engineering world. Before I picked up life coaching, I was a software engineer for like over a decade. And throughout my career, I've worked at many different countries, and not many different countries. I worked in Korea and I worked in the United States across multiple companies. And this is a way to prioritize tasks. This is a way to kind of list out the tasks that software engineering teams usually use. But if you're young and you need a little bit of a different way to manage your priority list or to-do list, or if you're not in the software engineering field and you would like to learn about a new way of kind of managing your to-do list, this will be the video for you. In software engineering, there's this thing called agile project management. So, uh, let me give you a quick overview of why this is needed. Software engineering is a big work, right? And then to make software that's not too complicated, you don't need a lot of work. But to make pretty complicated software that has lots of bells and whistles and involves many different things, you need a team of engineers. And when you have a team of people who are working together, it's natural that there's going to be difference in working styles. It's natural that there's going to be a difference in the aptitude of each individual player. So when there is no management strategy, and you just have a bunch of people working together, more times than not, the outcome is actually going to be less than the individual capacities summed up. So you have 5 people with capacity 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, but because it's a collaboration without a management, chances are the output is up less very likely that it's going to be less than 5. So how do we work better with people? That's the sort of problem that Agile is trying to solve, right? And in Agile, what we do is this thing called story pointing. So story pointing is primarily what I want to talk about today. When we write down the things that we need to do in a to-do list, one of the big um, issues with it is, yes, X and Y are both technically a to-do, but the to-dos have a very different size. So for example, uh, it's, tax season. So do my taxes is one line item, right? It's technically one line item. But get eggs and milk from the grocery store. That's also one line item. But one is sufficiently larger than the other, right? But another, so this is the problem with the size in the line items. Another problem that people tend to have when it comes to estimating work is we think in terms of hours. We think of how much time it's going to take. But if you are cooking rice, all you have to do is wash the rice, let it sit for a few minutes or a few hours if you have mixed grain rice, pop it in the electric rice cooker, press the button. Technically, it takes like an hour or two. But your work there is kind of minimal, right? On the other hand, um, something like cleaning your bathroom. Cleaning your bathroom is going to take less than an hour, but there's a lot more detail involved, right? You have to clean the bathtub, you have to clean the shower, you need to, flush out the, sink with the hair and the gunk, and then you need to wipe the toilet, and then you need to wipe the floor, and so on and so forth. So although time-wise, cleaning your restroom is a lot smaller, when it comes to the actual complexity of the work, making rice is actually very much lower. So when it comes to sizing the to-do items, what we do is this thing called the relative comparison. When you think of tasks, look at all the tasks that you have in your to-do list if you have one, and pick the most trivial one. Basically, this takes no time, almost no effort, and you can get the outcome instantaneously. Like, check if your email inbox has a response from someone. This is instant, right? This is going to be your baseline. This is going to be your first 0-point story. So, story is basically a line item in your to-do list. This is your first 0. Now, compare other simple tasks. If it is about the same amount of trivialness as this one, congratulations, you have other 0-pointers. But if you find that something is easy, but it's not necessarily instantaneous and trivial, congratulations, you have your first 1-point story. Now, you have 2 measures of relativity. Suppose you find another easy task, but turns out this sits somewhere in the middle of 1 and 0. Congratulations. Now this gets bumped up to a 2, and this becomes a 1-pointer. So now you have 0-pointer, 1-pointer, and 2. And you keep comparing the complexity. Again, not the amount of hour it takes. Again, not the amount of, we're not trying to look at one item as like a unit of work. So not all line items have the same amount of weight in. Okay, so but you keep doing that, and then the numbers grow in the Fibonacci sequence. So you have a 0-pointer, 1-pointer, 2-pointer, 3-pointer, 5-pointer, 8-pointer, and so on and so forth. Now, I said not every line item has the same weight, right? So if you have a line item that's above 8 points, 8 points tends to be the standard for the team that I worked in. We want to break down the 8 plus items to a smaller chunk. So for example, do the taxes is like an 8. So do the taxes gets broken down to collect the forms that I have in my home. That's something more manageable than do the taxes, right? Download all the bank statements from last year. This is, again, something that has to do with taxes, but then is a lot smaller and simpler, right? So this is how you break things down so that everything is kind of a workable size. This is especially good for you if you get overwhelmed by big line items. So congratulations. After this process, you have a list of actionable things that you can do. Now, not all of these have the same weight in terms of priority. So taxes are due April something, right? So it's kind of important that you do it timely, whereas something that doesn't really have a time limit can wait. So it's important that we keep these things to account, right? So we divide up the work by 2 things. Number 1, the relative size of things, and number 2, the relative priority. And when you have that set up, turns out your day is going to be a lot more manageable in terms of you tackling your to-do list. Now, traditionally, the software that kind of helps you to navigate this kind of planning is online, but it's like pretty complex for the everyday user. So I made a everyday usable task planner that you don't necessarily have to log into. If you just use this on your laptop or like one machine, it's going to be stored on your local. So what needs to be done? So for example, do the dishes. Now, categories, I put work, personal, and urgent. You can edit your categories here. And you can put the relative priority here. This is relatively low, but you can set the story point. I didn't start at 0, but you get the drift. The easiest one can be a 1-pointer for you. So this is 1-pointer for me, right? And then focus mode is when you get overwhelmed, when you have so many things on your to-do list, enabling focus mode will actually give you just one thing to look at a time. so that you're not so overwhelmed by like a list of things to do. And if you want to check out all the things that I said in writing, this is the guide. Here's a story point guide. So this is available for your use at tools.julylifecoach.com/tools/taskplanner.html. I will drop a link into it below. Feel free to ask me any questions about how to work better with your productivity system.